Welcome to my channel. I'm going to read a tale called The Three Little Men by Andrew Kim. The bell startled me as I was thinking about what kind of delivery my sister had sent me. I rushed to the door with a smile on my face as I was opening the door. I was expecting to see Mr. Daniels, my mailman for the past 3 years. Throughout my stay in Seattle. Mr. Daniels. You've kept me waiting. I'm afraid Mr. Daniels won't be coming anymore. A middle-aged man, about 5 foot high, was taking my package out of his oversized bag. James Todd. Yeah, that's me. Here is your package, James. I saw the name on his name tag and tried to get rid of the awkwardness that was flowing between Mr. Reefer and I through the open door. So, you knew. What happened to Mr. Daniels? I handed the signed receipt back to him as he hurriedly closed his bag. He snatched the receipt out of my hand and stuffed it into his pocket. All I could see was the train of his navy green coat swinging around the corner of the corridor before I could thank him. I set the package on the kitchen table and went to search for a knife. As I was opening the delivery, a sudden gush of disappointment went through my body as I realized that my sister had sent me the exact same package that she had sent me last year for my birthday. Need a cane, Jack? I examined the extraordinary way Jack was limping to get more packages to deliver. He had no reaction as I took the last long drag before lunch break was over. I thought of something that could teach Jack Reefer, the new delivery guy, a lesson. Hey Reefer, I'm talking to you. I raised my voice. He stopped and turned his head in my direction slowly. His stare at me made me speechless. It was not fear I saw in his eyes, it was anger. As I was left dumbfounded, I saw him walking back to the truck with a bag loaded with packages. As the roaring of the delivery truck descended, my coworker asked me, "What was that all about, Tony?" Got scared. This must have been funny for them since Reefer was not staring at them. I could not forget the stare he was giving me. This was no more a joke when the time passed 13:45. The company had promised that the package would be delivered by 13:30. As I was walking out of my office, I noticed a delivery man coming out of the elevator. Delivery for Mr. Richard Bronwyn. I heard his weak trembling voice as he was trying to make an attempt to find out who I was. The accountant near the elevator pointed at my office, which guided him and his weird steps to my desk. Mr. Richard Bronwyn. Yes, that is me, and I must state that you are 15 minutes late. His discreet mumbling made it practically impossible to hear on this huge floor with constant phones ringing. This man was staring at the ground the whole time and couldn't lift his head up. I was suspecting that it was because of his guilty conscience at being late. But, as I was planning to forgive him after I finished signing, he quickly snatched it out of my hand and left the office. The bell woke me up. It was just past 11 p.m. As I was wondering about who it could be, the bell rang again. Who is it? It's an emergency delivery from Israel. Israel? Who could it be from Israel? I thought to myself. I put the safety chain on the door and peeked through the gap. There was an intense moment of silence as I stay quiet watching Mr. Reefer take the package out of his bag. I closed my door to open up and receive the package. Before I could realize what had happened, I felt a sting on my neck and everything blacked out. I was on duty that night filling in for the security guard. The time was almost midnight. It was not hard to notice that the short man in the pixelized monitor of the surveillance camera was Jack. He was standing with his head down. It seemed like he was waiting for something. But as I squinted my eyes to catch the most out of the small man in the monitor, I was in great shock. It looked like he was laughing at something. He was slowly turning his head towards the surveillance camera, and when he looked into the camera, I ran to the door and locked it as fast as possible. When I came back to my seat to check where he was, the man was gone. The continuous fear that was flowing through my guts while trying to spot the man in the monitors made me sick. I could feel cold sweat running down my back. I looked at every floor and every corridor. There was no sign of him. I stayed alert for about 20 minutes with my eyes wide open, staring into 6 different monitors, hoping to find the man who had just stared at me through the surveillance camera. As I was slowly getting relieved by the fact that I was the only person in this building, the stress pulled me back towards the chair. "Hi, Tony." I heard Jack's voice right behind me as I was comforting myself on the chair. "Tony, Tony, 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 Tony." As I opened my eyes, I felt a gush of pain in my head. As I was moaning to search for balance, I realized that I was tied onto a bed. The tight restriction of my hands and feet alarmed my instincts, and I was trying to figure out where I was. "Tony, Tony, Tony. Why did you leave me?" "Jack? Jack Reefer." "That is correct." His voice did not sound like anything at work. I could hear a strain of joy in his voice. "What is this, Jack? Where am I?" "Tony. Tony. We had such good times together." "Jack, talk to me. Where am I? Was it you at the parking lot?" "Tony. Why did you leave me?" "Jack, what are you talking about? We only met each other 2 weeks." Before I even finished that sentence, a peak of pain went through my throat and it was impossible for me to talk. I could feel the warm liquid pumping out of the slit in my neck every time I tried to breathe. As my vision blurred, I saw Jack looking at me with empathy filled in his eyes. "Help. Be quiet, Tony, you're going to wake our baby. You crazy son of a..." The light was too bright for me to open my eyes. I turned my head sideways and squinted my eyes. I saw a man with a navy green coat. "Mr. Reefers." "Hold on, James, I have to clean up the pieces that flew out of Tony's head." When I combed his hair, I saw red liquid and small pink-colored chunks. I threw up on my side when I spotted a deformed eyeball on the floor. "Oh boy, seems like I have more work to do. Hold on, James, I'm going to get some more plastic bags." I pretended to faint. I did not know what to do. Every sound of his footsteps leaving the room made me shiver. I walked faster and faster, trying to avoid the man who was following me in the parking lot. There were 7 more pillars to pass until I reached my car. Mr. Bronwyn." It was a familiar voice. After stopping my footsteps, I thought about who it could be. "I'm the Emma mailman." I then remembered his face, the slow mailman with the limp. "Oh, hello, Mr. Jack. My name is Jack." "Hello, Mr. Jack. Do you need something?" He approached me slowly, so slow that I did not notice until he was about 10 inches away from me. I spotted a hammer in his hand. I turned around and started walking again, my fastest this time. "Mr. Bronwyn." My steps were faster and faster. I could hear multiple steps that were close behind me. 2 more pillars left, E6, E5. I saw my car, took the keys out of my pocket. I turned around to check if that maniac was near me. As I turned around my car to open the door with shaking hands, I saw the mailman with a hammer behind me with a grin in the reflection of the mirror. I grunted to take my hands out of the leather belt that was just about the size of my wrist. I made a last attempt to pull my hands out, but it did not work. I heard footsteps that were closing into the door from the outside. My heartbeat was increasing rapidly and the intensity of the situation made me throw up again. Police! Put your hands up. I was saved, finally. After knowing that my new mailman was a crazy serial killer who killed guys who had names of his ex-boyfriends, I decided to start a new quiet life in Virginia. Life here has been amazing here. I found a nice job, have a nice girlfriend. It was my birthday. When I came home from dinner with my girlfriend, I noticed that I had a package delivered to me. I expected it to be my sister. As I was reading through the paper attached to the package, I saw "Delivery by Jack Reefer."